Hey everyone, so Worlds is right around the corner. This is the patch that's going to be played on, and we have a round of buffs here for champions that I'm guessing Riot would like to see more of going into the tournament, maybe at the cost of solo queue. There are loads of new rewards launching with this as well. There will be a Worlds Pass for the first time for 1650 RP, which will let you earn tokens across the entire of Worlds. We have a Championship Kha'Zix and all of those chromas coming out for each of the individual teams that are going to be at Worlds. We have the new Halloween skins for Echo, Janna, and Kled, and they actually look really sick for a change. We also have two new Kai'Sa skins, kind of two new Kai'Sa skins anyway. There is going to be Popstar Kai'Sa, which will launch to start with, but there will also be a prestige version of this skin, which is a brand new thing they're introducing with brand new effects. It is kind of a new skin basically that will be available from the tokens that you collect throughout Worlds. Let's move into the balance changes of the patch, so stuff that is actually going to affect you in your games if you jump into them. If something feels a little bit stronger, this will be why. Kha'Zix's passive damage AD ratio has been doubled this patch, and his W evolved slows for 20% more, plus his 10% more when isolated. Riot actually said they wanted to help Kha'Zix set up plays in ways that aren't just murdering you faster, but by the way, we've doubled the amount of AD his passive damage uses. That doesn't really add up to me, but maybe I'm just bad at maths, who knows. He can use this multiple times in a fight as well, remember? It resets when you lose your vision of him, so it's quite a bit more damage. Obviously, it helps a little bit early game, but it really starts to kick in at maybe 2 to 3 items and above that, I think, when you have a bit more AD that will feed into that ratio. He's already got pretty good late game potential anyway though, and damage, and now that's even stronger, especially when he's in your face, like actually running around with his ultimate and he can reset it and proc it a couple of times. The Void Spike change, the W change, can help as well a bit later, help you engage or set things up before you want to jump in. And I know in pro play actually they used to evolve these earlier in the game and use it that way for a bit of utility. We might see it a little bit more that way as well, but I would still expect you to evolve your Q first if you play it in solo queue. I feel like with Dark Harvest, with that Q upgrade, with Dustblade and his passive buff, that's just asking for trouble, to be honest. He's going to have so much damage. Another one that is a little bit strange for solo queue is for Darius. So his W is up 10% total AD and his E has 5% more arm penetration to start the game. Darius is one of the most banned top laners at the moment. Nobody really wants to play against him because he's just so brutal to play against in the lane phase, right? If he gets ahead, it's kind of a real big issue. This is going to give him more damage at that point and more penetration to make that damage hit harder as well. So it's not just his W giving more, it's going to bypass more armor, like any tabbies or anything. The way I feel like I can explain this is like his W now starts how it was going to be at rank 3 with the percentage used, and his E now starts at what it would be in rank 2. Basically, it's kind of like at level 3, when you have a skill point in each of them, it's like having a rank 1 Q, a rank 3 W, and a rank 2 E. It's not quite like that, but you get the idea, right? The percentage armor pen is much better versus tanks, and it's kind of true, something that Riot talks about, but I mean, everybody buys tabbies anyway, so you're going to bypass that. So it's not supposed to make him insane in the lane phase, but it probably will. It's definitely targeted at the lane phase, right? Helping him trade, get a lead, and be able to take over from that point, something he's already pretty good at. Also, his W is actually total AD, it's not bonus. So this means that it's going to be from base and from items at the same time, rather than the bonus, which is just from item. The reason that's important is because 10% actually means a bit more than you probably think it does when it's concerning like base and your items put together, if that makes sense. I feel like this could be a lot worse at lower ranks as well, where Darius is already kind of a problem. He's probably going to take over the game a little bit more, and you might end up wanting to ban him a bit more. So for Jarvan, his passive cooldown has been decreased to 6 at every level instead of 10 down to 6 by level 13. So this is actually a good buff to both top lane and to jungle Jarvan, so you can pick him whichever, it doesn't really matter. And for pro play, that's good because you can flex him. Your passive is a lot of your damage, by the way, especially early. It's 8% of the target's current health, and now you can use it a lot more. For the jungle specifically, you're going to have a faster clear speed for sure, right? You'll spend less time in the jungle, that die a bit faster, so you'll be healthier as well because you don't have to farm and tank damage as much, and you're going to have more chance to gank. All of those things are really good. Top lane, you'll be able to be a bit more aggressive. It's almost half the cooldown, honestly. So you can auto trade with the Q and the passive together, wait 6 seconds, do it again over and over and over and win. It rewards you and it kind of encourages you to trade and fight more, and that also lines up seriously well with a Grasp of the Undying if you take that with the healing and the damage. Jarvan is actually a beast top in jungle, honestly, if he can get a lead, right? Which this should kind of help you do. We're probably going to see him a bit more in the jungle, at least in solo queue, right? But the top lane, when we do see him, it will be able to do just a little bit more, especially in pro play. We've got 3 supports up next, and they're all pretty big. So for Janna, her passive move speed converted to damage has been increased by 10% to start the game, but it'll be the same at level 13. So they're actually rewarding her for fighting. Like, she already has a shield, disengage, really good, right? No need to make that any stronger than it already is. This is now the same damage you would have had at level 7 as soon as you start the lane phase. So it's actually a lot of damage. This really wants to like push you to trade more as a Janna, which isn't going to be a bad idea as a poke champion either. Like, you can poke, right? You have the shield, which is more AD, but you can protect yourself as well. You have the damage from passive now, and you have the disengage if they try to go in on you. It is actually good poke, and it's a really good kit to have that, I think. You still then turn it into a defensive machine afterwards, and that makes a lot of sense, to be honest. It's kind of like having a Nami, just not as good in the lane phase, but better in team fights, and you don't have a heal, I guess, if you want to think of it like that. So with Thresh, for his Q, the mana cost is down, and the cooldown is going to be down at early ranks as well. So apparently there are loads of champions right now that can shut Thresh down, so they need to give him a bit more like of a chance to throw out the hook. Right now in solo queue, at least, though, there are only a handful of champions that he is only just about losing to, so this might be one that kind of messes up solo queue as well. You can fish a little bit more with your hooks. You can try to get a hook. You're not punished as hard if you miss them because you'll have it up a bit sooner again. Basically, every 3 times you are hooking as well before, you can now cast another for free with the mana cost going down. So over the course of the lane phase, it will actually make a difference. It's kind of aimed at bringing up his early game power. This doesn't make much difference once it's maxed out, so it goes back to the same cooldowns before. The only change would be the cost. The biggest support change, though, is to Pike. These actually went through, so his ultimate execution damage has been increased to start the game. They want to increase the snowball part to clean up fights more without touching what he can actually do, like kit-wise, and it's affecting levels 6 to 10. After level 11, it goes back to normal. So there's no change to his like later game team fighting, and executing there won't be any easier, but champions in lane, where it's like the buff is, at level 6 don't have that much health. It's well under 1,000 anyway, and since this is now at 250 damage, you literally only have to damage somebody for 75% of their health bar to kill them. So the execution part is easier, right? But because it's a reset, I think it kind of makes him a little bit nuts. Like, you're more likely to get the first kill, which means then you now have another 250 damage sitting there to be used, making it more likely you get the next kill as well. I know it's a little bit different, but imagine they made Darius' ultimate do more true damage at level 6 to 10. That sounds insane, right? And that's basically what this is doing. At least for solo queue, I really do not think Pike needed a buff. So this seems pretty crazy to me, and he probably is going to become really popular. So we're going to go back to the jungle, and at least his W and E have a lower cooldown in spider form. They really want to bring back how good she can be early game and how aggressive she can be. Her repel or her E is so key to her kit. Like, taking 4 seconds off rank 1 is definitely going to be helping with any dives or playmaking and stuff you actually want to do on the map. Her W going down 2 seconds is also pretty good to help her clear a little bit faster. As same as Jarvan, right? Come out of the jungle a little bit faster and having a bit more health to gank with. Elise really does want to spend most of her time running around, like getting ganks off and stuff. So anything that helps her get camps down a bit quicker should mean she is more active and can gank a bit more as well. I'm pretty sure Elise isn't even that bad. Like, I've seen her do a lot better recently. Her damage seems pretty good, and as long as you do gank a lot and try to win the early game, she can be a really good jungler still. Taking a look at Fiora now, her healing from her passive procs has been increased at early levels, and there's also a bug fix for her Q. It's aimed at letting her trade more and be rewarded for it, so getting healed more every single time she does, and this should help a lot if you run Grasp actually. I'm not sure how this bug fix is, by the way, but sometimes they are really good buffs actually. So basically your Q will correctly target champions even when killable minions are nearby. So if that was happening a lot, right, lunge targeting minions over champions, then her trading would have been a lot worse, and she'd be losing a lot of damage on the champion. Obviously I don't know 100% about this one. It depends how often it did actually happen, but it could be a really good bug fix to be fair. Either way, we are in a semi-tank meta. Fiora should do well in a lot of those matchups, and if Fiora gets ahead, she is proper scary. So making her lane better is definitely what she really needs. Her late game is already great. AP Nunu is definitely making a comeback this patch as well. His Q is going to use 20% more of the AP on the heal, and his E actually uses more AP for both parts. On the PvE, it did look like they were nerfing the champion healing, but actually they're just changing the tooltip to match what happens in game, so there's no change. More healing should definitely be a plus if you're taking more damage in the jungle in the first place, building AP, so that is good, and your clear speed would be better with the damage on your E, and when you roll into ganks, you'll be able to actually kill people way more. 30% more AP is no joke on a ratio. It's actually really good, so catching them in the root damage, which then combined with your ultimate sets that up afterwards, and that has stupid AP ratios. It means you can definitely hurt and kill people way more. So Kog'Maw has slightly more base move speed, right? His ultimate range is going to go up early as well, and this for me is a bit weird. I thought they wanted to buff AP Kog'Maw, but they are talking about bot lane. So the idea is that he can kite more with the move speed and stay a little bit safer to trade a bit more as well, so he won't be dying, but he can chase people down. The buff to his ultimate range will apparently help him chase down kills as well that he would otherwise miss, so he gets more gold. Maybe that does happen sometimes, but I'm not sure that I've ever thought to myself in game, wow, I wish this range was a tiny bit higher so I could kill that guy. Maybe it might help in some games, but not all. Honestly though, I've actually seen a few Stormrazor Rush Kog'Maws doing pretty well. It's not that bad right now. It sounds really weird, but you'd be surprised at how much damage it does. I doubt we're going to see Kog'Maw. He's really immobile. You just pick Kaisam and the damage is pretty much the same and you can run all over the place. So the last change we have is one to the only item buff of the patch to Liandry's. So the passive max HP burn has been increased, but the AP has been decreased. And you only really build this now when you either have a ton of damage over time or when the enemy has a super tank that you just can't kill, but honestly it's not really your job. AP being down means it's less bursty, but you'll be dealing more percentage damage now instead, and it's actually up to 2.5% when they're movement impaired. That's a pretty big chunk, honestly. I say 2.5%, that is obviously per second over the 3-second duration, so it's actually 7.5% now with the buffed version over 3 seconds instead of the 6% that it was before. You'll apply this constantly in a fight as well, right? So it's maybe like an extra 10% maximum health damage to people that you're hitting, which actually is really good. The crazy part is more that if you hit multiple people at once, then the extra percentage can really start to add up because you're proccing it on basically everybody at the same time. So that is 8.19 in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed and know what to expect going into your games today. Thank you for watching, but for now, I will leave you with the robots.